I've never seen or experienced a greater ROI marketing effort than what I'm going to go through with you today. And it's come from a recent client who grew from less than 2K per month to over 38K per month in less than 60 days. So I'm going to go through all the details with you. If you don't know me, my name's Will De Bruin. I co-founded an e-commerce business in 2013 with my brother. From the kitchen bench, we left our corporate jobs and started a business from scratch, and we bootstrapped the entire thing all the way through, and it now goes on to do multiple 7 figures per year. And I've now also helped over 200 e-commerce brands grow to record revenue months, hitting their first 10K all the way up to 100K per month with a paid program called the Ecom Blueprint. But what I want to go through today, as I mentioned, it's actually inspired by a client getting ridiculous results from this marketing effort. And it's something that e-commerce brand founders know or are familiar with and maybe even dabbled in, but rarely get the success due to some missing pieces, which I'm going to go through and cover off on today. So the effort is actually influencer marketing. This is something that we did with my e-commerce business back in 2013, 2014. We went from our first 9K all the way up to 27K per month off the back of an influencer posting for us about our product. It was the first time that we felt legitimate. It was the first time that we felt we'd reach people beyond our network of family and friends and loyal customers at the time, the networks that we'd actually built. And so this is something that I talk about quite a lot within my community, just really try to shine a light on the power. So firstly, if you're not doing this, if you're not leveraging other people's audiences, that's what it's all about, okay? Using somebody of influence somewhere across the online world or even in the physical, publication world to get access to their audience, a similar audience to you that leverages them over to you from them, okay? So think about it like this. If somebody in the health space has 100,000 followers and they have built a personal brand, they might do something that people obviously follow them for, that they're known for, and they post about you or a specific product that their audience is going to be interested in, suddenly your brand becomes made aware of. People are going to check you out. They're going to visit your website. They're going to visit your socials. They now know about you. It's that first impression. So the way that an ad or an email serves an impression, so does the effort of somebody talking about you, okay? It sounds obvious, but it's a really methodical way. It's really important to think methodically about how we think about marketing and how we do these actual efforts. So that's the theory. And what it does, it has the ability, like I mentioned with the crazy results from us and from clients in the community as well, is it has the significant ability to move and make people aware of you super fast. Because suddenly, rather than you trying to build up your profiles organically, which is important, run ads, which is important, send emails, which is important, for you to suddenly be known by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of people in a very, very short period of time is worth the time and effort and can absolutely explode brands. If you think about it, I'll use an extreme example. If Joe Rogan or Tim Ferriss or anyone with millions of followers that has exposure to millions of people talks about a specific product, they will sell out that product in the next hour. That's the extreme power. So us as e-commerce brands, no matter what size you're actually at, have the ability to do the same thing, maybe on smaller scales, maybe even more frequently, right? And that's what I'm going to talk through in terms of the specific strategy, okay? So let's just talk about influencer marketing again, the kind of the process. There's actually 3 ways that we've done, that we know about, that we advise on, and I'll go through them now. So the first thing is that you can go through agencies, right? So there's agencies set up, you can probably Google them, that will reach out to influencers or have an influencer portfolio that you can seed your product to. That means basically gift your product to. Now you're obviously gonna have to pay that agency, you may have to pay the influencer, it's case by case. But that's one strategy. The middle tier is online platforms. So like an agency, but it's a bit of a conduit. Online, you'll pay like a membership fee perhaps, or even just again, pay an influencer with product and sometimes money as well. But you'll have direct contact with people who almost advertise themselves on this kind of platform, I guess you could say. And then the third thing is DIY, okay? So us as business owners literally reaching out to people on Instagram predominantly, okay? It could be Facebook, it could be also other platforms like podcasts and YouTubes, and wherever your audience is actually hanging out, wherever your designated influencer actually is, doing it physically and starting to build relationships and converse with them and ultimately get to, hey, it'd be great if you could, help, like collaborate with us, if you could promote our product, right? You want to sort of get to the point there. So they're the 3 tiers, and the order that I mentioned them in are probably the expense from top to bottom. Most expensive going to be agency, middle is going to be the subscription type, and then the cheapest one is going to be the DIY. But in terms of the effectiveness in our experience, it's probably the reverse order. So you're going to put more work into the DIY. It's obviously free, but you're going to build genuine relationships. And this is really important, especially early on in your business journey, to do the work yourself, to outreach, to kind of get feedback, to understand your messaging and what's going to resonate with people, to help you understand what is important to the influencer and also their audience, because that's the frame we always need to take. Not necessarily what's in it for me, my business, yes, it's going to be good, but it's like, what is the influencer going to get out of it? What is their audience going to get out of it? Because that is what they are interested in, and that what proves to be the most effective way to think about it. As always, okay, that principle always applies, especially to our customers, but influencers particularly in this case. The middle tier, again, it's kind of like the middle of cost and middle of effort, and the top tier, meaning the agency, is going to be the most expensive with the least amount of effort. So it's completely relative with cost to effort ratio. But in our experience, the DIY has been most effective. Okay, most effective, and that's just not from every single person that we've reached out to. It's just across the board, and the numbers that we've actually hit and the people that have really done a great job for us, all right? The agency has probably been second most. Again, you pay for that privilege. And then the third has probably been the middle tier, which is, sometimes we find a lot of like content creators and types and people who register themselves might almost kind of be like wannabe striving kind of influencers. So that's just what we've found with our success on platforms and also the cost. So what you basically want to do, and I'll talk about the DIY, is essentially, as I say, go to the platform where your audience is, look at who they look up to. It could be organizations, but more importantly, or most effectively, it could be, people specifically, and approach them in the DMs, like follow them, take genuine interest in what they do in their posts and the quality of content, and compliment them, admire them through a DM and say, hey, really enjoying what you do and whatnot. And it is really important to be genuine. Okay, whilst there might be a bit of a hidden agenda at the end of the day, people will like to work with people who genuinely support them. They're on the same page, have the same values. And especially when it comes to a product, people don't want to endorse something they don't believe in, or even people that they like, okay? So you need to be really cautious and careful of that. And what I would say is that you'll get experience through the effort of doing what I'm talking about here. In the messaging, you can go that slow approach of the liking, commenting, and sharing, and sort of getting to know them over a period of time. Some people we have to do that with, especially the bigger players. But for some smaller guys, or even if you just want to get going with it, there's no reason why you can't just go in the DMs and, as I say, compliment them, take a genuine interest in them, and then present the opportunity that you'd be a great advocate for our brand and our product. Right, so that's really how you do it. It's an art form, but what I would encourage you to do here is it becomes a numbers game. Now, I don't mean that in just go after absolutely everybody. They still have to be suited for your brand, and that comes through the research phase. That comes through looking at their profiles, looking at their posts, genuinely again liking them and thinking they would be a good representative for your brand. But where people fail and leave thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands on the table is in their lack of volume. They might go after 1, 2, 3 and be like, oh, that person never got back to me, or that person didn't do a good job of posting, or sometimes they didn't even post at all. We've literally been through it all. But we must use influencer marketing and look at influencer marketing like any other marketing effort. It becomes a numbers game, but driven by numbers. So what that means is basically the number of people you outreached this month, the number of people that responded, let's call it, then the number of people that said yes, then the number of people that you actually sent products to, then the number of people that actually posted, and then the number of people that are actually successful at what they did. So it's really important to understand that, again, we look at this like any other marketing effort, like our open rates on emails, like our click-through rates on ads. It is driven by numbers. Now, I would say that a minimum number of people that you need to outreach, actually 30 successful people that actually post for you to gauge the success of influencer marketing. Now, that might mean that you have to outreach to, honestly, like 500 people. That sounds like it might be a lot, but if you can get 30 people to post for you, there's 3 main benefits. We often think as business owners that there's one thing, which is sales. Sales is number one, but there's also number 2 and 3. So the second one is their audience. Like I mentioned, they have a similar or same demographic to you. Okay, so what's happening when they post about you is they are exposing their audience, their followers, to your product, your brand. That means that their audience is going to go to your site, probably likely go to your socials and check you out, right? That's why our socials are so important to be understood, that they're basically like a shop front and a database. So you will get followers, right? You will get people checking you out, but if they don't follow you, they're going to be in your ecosystem. So if you're using retargeting ads, for example, they will get retargeted by your ads and you'll just follow them around. Okay, brand exposure, brand presence, that impression serving, like I mentioned before. So the second thing is audience. The third thing is actually the content. Okay, now we pay for content these days. User-generated content is a paid service. Like, people have platforms and services where they'll charge you $100 or $200 or $300 for a piece of content. So you need to think about that in the sense of value. Okay, value, like I would pay for this piece of content. If they make something great for you, you can then go throw that in ads. Again, that could be worth tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to you, just having that content, right? Of a great unboxing or a great experience or a great piece of content that shows how good your product is and what it's actually used for, right? That relates to your target demographic. So there's 3 tiers of benefits. And again, this is where people are missing out. They're missing out. So the step-by-step play here is obviously understand what tier you want to go down. I recommend the DIY. Okay, it's going to take volume. So you need to understand your numbers then of how many you outreach, how many say yes, how many plant product to, how many actually do a good job. Okay, then understand the ROI in the sense of I put product and or money in to get them to post. And then the output, meaning in the sense of sales and audience and actual content. Okay, so that's basically the inputs to the outputs and how we control every step of that process. So that's exactly what we did. And now we push for at least 1 influencer posting per week. Sometimes it's been 2 and 3. And that just builds our audience, builds our content bank, builds our credibility. People see this influencer, that organization posting about us, and they can't almost get away from us. And that creates FOMO and a frenzy when it comes to buying our products. Okay, so this is what, again, clients in the Ecom Blueprint community have been doing very, very successfully through a myriad of reasons. But the main thing is, I have never seen a greater ROI than influencer marketing efforts. Okay, the input to output ratio is extreme. Don't sleep on this. Too many people sleep on it because they don't use a proper strategy, the one I've just literally outlaid for you. All right, so look, obviously I hope this was valuable. You can see the value in it. Do it, pound the pavement, don't get shy. It's about putting yourself out there and believing in yourself and your product to get it out to the wider community and that people will genuinely love it. And if we don't have that, then there's obviously some things we need to work on in terms of belief system with our product and brand. But if you're watching this and if you followed me for a while, that's probably the number one thing about why you'll be successful, is because you believe in the product. Now you have to get others to believe in it, and that comes through influencer marketing predominantly. Okay, so I hope this was valuable for you. Look, if you are struggling, if you want more help with your e-commerce business, I've got a link down below. You can check that out about what we do inside our program. You obviously don't have to click on it. It's just if you want some more information about what we do, how we can help you progress, and how we've helped a couple of other 100 people do it as well. Other than that, thanks for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. I'm just banging out videos like this every single week now, so I'd really appreciate it, and I appreciate you being here and getting towards the end. Obviously, as I said, hope it's been completely valuable for you, and let me know if you need to know anything else with regards to ecom. I will create videos for you, so I'll see you in the next one.